porcupine. Really sharp quilled porcupine. That's a really sweet energy. It's very incredible, especially if you're going through some hardships or some hard times. Porcupine is a very beautiful energy to hold space with you. We can get out there in the world with what we need to do and what we want to do. We can be vulnerable and still find boundaries, empowerment, an energetic shift working in our favor. Porcupine is a little on the complex side because it is a very sweet energy, but of course, as you know, they have really intense sharp quills. And these sharp quills, they're hollow in the middle, but they've got barbs on the end. So if you get quilled by a porcupine, then that barb is going to be really painful to pull out. And that hollowness inside of it lets a porcupine float if they're swimming in water. Now, because of the intensity of the porcupine's quills, covering, I would have to say, over 90% of their body, their bellies are soft, but everything on top is pretty intense. Because of that, predators really just don't bother with them. So that allows them to be incredibly curious. They get into all different kinds of stuff. The only predator that can successfully, after practice, eat a porcupine are usually mountain lions here in the States and lions over in Africa. Nobody's going to be walking around going, well, even though it's a rodent and even though it's good eaten, we're going to eat it. Most animals will do everything in their power to avoid those quills. And so the porcupine can expand its curiosity. Now, symbolically speaking, it's got natural protection. It was born with its warrior spirit as its skin. So it gives you the chance to get out in the world and be joyful and playful. The quills help you move through any challenge or any danger. And the quills help you if you're especially grief-stricken. If you're experiencing grief, you can call on porcupine to take care of your heart. If you're feeling really vulnerable and really pained in life, you can ask porcupine to watch your back for you so that you don't have to spend all your time watching your back. I'll tell you another little fun fact about porcupines. They mate for life. So they're about monogamous, joyful, loving nature. Once they find a partner, they stay with that partner to the very, very end. And I love those monogamous partnered animals because they're proof that monogamy is natural to many beings out there in the spirit world. How does it influence your day? Well, you're being asked to look at all challenges today in a playful, curious, and joyful manner. You're being asked to indulge your innocence. It's one of the reasons why I'm kind of cutesy. You'll notice that I'll kind of theme myself what energy that we get so that it's kind of like a full ceremonial experience. I'm going to challenge you, if you're dealing with things that you consider frustrating, to take a different approach or a different look at what is frustrating. It's innocent and it's playful, and it literally sees all challenges as a chance to explore further. So you want to imagine when you're playing a video game or you're playing a board game or you're playing a game with your friends, whether it's sports or anything like that, the art of play is in place. The art of play is what makes it fun. When we were kids, so let's go back to that innocent energy. We weren't taught things by some person hanging over us with a ruler in their hand, slapping us when we got things wrong. They sang our ABCs to us. They had us color in artwork so that we could learn how to kind of get our hand-eye coordination down. They let us finger paint. It just expands and expands. And it's the whole idea that when the mind is engaged in joyful, innocent playfulness, it expands faster, challenges are handled better, and you can move through it in a much more easy and graceful manner. Another thing I want to mention about it is that the quills are used in jewelry and the quills are used in different forms of weapons. And so it's very interesting to see how it be an adornment, for instance, in earrings, or whether it's going to be something somebody would use for sewing. Use porcupine quills for tattooing. So they would take the quill and they would do this tattooing. I don't even want to think about that unless they took the barbs off. I really don't know how they go about it. But of course, I also have not tried to tattoo anybody lately with a porcupine quill. Please use this day easy, sweet, and adventurous. And when I was mentioning the video games, I was mentioning them and board games and such to remind you that even when it's challenging and even when it's frustrating, we strive to level up. We strive to beat the game, but we don't strive to beat it because we're angry at it. We strive to beat it because it's an enjoyable experience. So look at life today that way. If there's something you're struggling with, see it as your game and see if you can level up and see if you can challenge yourself. And if it's boring, in my world, anytime I'm dealing with anything I find extremely intense, I put on music. It's about releasing energy. Now, last thing about porcupine. You guys, seriously, they're so freaking hysterical. They're really genuinely fun. You'll see this porcupine that talks up a storm, and I absolutely adore Kemosabe. Whenever I'm feeling kind of depressed or down, I'll find him again. I'll find Kemosabe, and he's hysterical to watch. So he's a perfect example of curiosity. He's a perfect example of he's got all kinds of attitude, and he talks. He really talks. And Kemosabe's like, now don't forget they're rodents, so they're super intelligent. Back to curiosity. Playfulness, mischievousness is also involved. And then, of course, the joy of monogamous love.
You can see under his belly here that he doesn't really have any quills under there. So all these big quills on top are going to help protect his belly underneath.